Semimembranosus gets its name like half of a membrane. And so at this point in your lecture, you've covered a cell membrane, how it surrounds the inside of a cell. Well, semimembranosus is going to surround semitendinosus about halfway around the muscle. Here's a reminder that the hamstring muscle group is going to be the long head of the biceps femoris, semitendinosus, and semimembranosus, but it's not going to include the short head of biceps femoris. Now, looking at our pictures here, when it comes to the hamstrings, one cool thing is that they all originate at the same point, the ischial tuberosity. We'll work on biceps femoris long head here first, and it's going to be the one that's on the lateral side here. And we just said it originates on the ischial tuberosity, but where it inserts, if we follow these fibers down, it's actually going to insert on the lateral condyle of the tibia in the head of the fibula. Now, what the biceps femoris long head is going to be doing, and all of the hamstrings are also going to have the same action, is that because it is originating on the hip here, it's going to have an action across the hip, and it's also going to have an action across the knee here. So its action across the hip is extension of the thigh. So if the femur were to come out of the screen at us, that's what it's going to be doing across the hip. And it's also going to cause flexion of the knee or flexion of the leg. So that's going to cause the tibia here to also come out of the screen and come closer together, because recall flexion is going to be narrowing of a joint angle. The nerve that's going to innervate the biceps femoris long head is going to be the tibial portion of the sciatic nerve. On the short head here, just deep to it, it will originate on the lateral lip of the linea aspera. So it is not a part of the hamstrings. It will also insert to the same spot, the lateral condyle of the tibia and the head of the fibula. It will also do the same action across the knee, the flexion of the knee, but it does not have an action across it because it doesn't originate on the hip. It will be innervated by the same nerve, the tibial portion of the sciatic nerve. Our next two here, if you'll notice, this muscle has a really long tendon right here, and it's actually skinnier compared to the rest of them, and that is semitendinosus, and that's what we'll work on next. It's also going to originate on the ischial tuberosity. Where it's inserting is the proximal portion and also the medial aspect of the tibia, but it's going to be doing it a little posterior to gracilis and sartorius, and you can just trace that tendon and see that happening there. What semitendinosus is going to do is it's going to extend the thigh and flex the knee. And it's also innervated by the tibial portion of the sciatic nerve. Now, surrounding semitendinosus here, you can see on two sides, there is semimembranosus. And semimembranosus is also going to originate on the ischial tuberosity. Where it's going to insert is the medial condyle of the tibia. That's what you see right there with its tendon. Action is going to be the same, still extending the thigh, flexing the knee. And the same nerve is still innervating semimembranosus, the tibia portion of the sciatic nerve. Now, in reality, this is going to be a little closer to what it's going to look like all put together here. So biceps femoris long head right here, short head just deep to it. When we get over here, we see a really long, skinny muscle with a long tendon, that's semitendinosus. Semimembranosus is going to be surrounding it here. We also see a little bit of adductor magnus as well from this posterior view. Working on muscles of the anterior lower leg, at this point, you only have to know the actions of these muscles. So you don't need their origin, their insertion, or their innervation, just the action. What are they doing? Our first one's going to be tibialis anterior. You can actually feel this muscle in yourself. If you feel the tibia bone, your shin, you go just lateral, and then you dorsiflex your foot, so you lift your toes and your foot to the ceiling, you'll feel a muscle contract just on the outside of your shin, and that is tibialis anterior. And its main action is going to be dorsiflexion, and also it's going to invert the foot. We're also going to have two extensor muscles, extensor digitorum longus, which will go to the digits, or all the toes, and then extensor hallucis, or hallucis longus, which goes to the big toe.